And
Honey, 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 honey.
honey,
This is the end of the road for us. Thank God. I mean, so sad. So
finally,
sad. Finally. Hashtag Kenya. So I want to ask you guys how you guys are doing today. Cortez.
I'm great. It's Monday. It is the last episode of this season. The VMAs are tomorrow, and I feel great.
Asia.
I'm good. I'm Gucci. I'm so happy that this season is over.
How happy are you, friend?
Very, very. Finally happy.
Finally. Hashtag.
Not finally.
Antonio, how are you doing, child?
I am doing good, coming back, fresh off a little, Brazilian escapade. I'm good.
Okay, honey. I knew you was gonna throw that little in there. So, how was that? Everything okay?
He had a hoochie daddy short.
He was in front of God with hoochie daddy shorts on.
Hoochie daddy shorts on.
God love the hoochies too. Okay. No, it was a great time. It really was.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad you're back, and I'm glad you're safe and not kidnapped or whatnot. So we're gonna jump into the season 15 reunion part 2. Thank God it was only 2 episodes because I don't think it was necessary for more than that. We're going to start off we're going back into Drew and Courtney. They're still arguing about with Courtney words at the end of the finale of the season. Andy asked Courtney what Ralph has been saying, asking does she believe that he had an affair. Drew says Courtney just met Ralph yesterday. Drew says you better not speak on my son, and Drew's also admits to going to Ty's game. So Courtney, Andy asked, some questions, some little probing questions, asking, when did Ralph, feel like he was ready for a divorce? Was it after Portugal? And she said yes. Kandi chimes in and explains how she met Ty, and Sheree asked Sheree if she knows anything about it. And from then on, we get that Sheree from her gated community has got some documents dropped off at her door. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, but everybody's just like, Andy kind of just awkward. To me, it was awkward that he asked, Sheree, did she know anything about it? But Sheree said she pulls out the manila folder. What was a manila folder? It was a manila envelope. I don't know. But she pulls out her envelope. Same thing. Same thing.
That's all we know is vanilla.
She pulls it out behind that pillow and she drops off some receipts. So, Sheree stands on not knowing who dropped them off. Drew says she's seen Ralph beat the IRS single-handedly, which everybody I think in the group me said it was nasty work. So just kind of giving just a quick breakdown of that first beginning of scene. Question is, do we think that Courtney really talked about Drew's child? And do we think that Sheree really knows who dropped off that envelope? And do we think that Sheree was wrong? Because I've been seeing a lot of things on X. Look at me bringing X. Twitter. X forming on this Twitter. So everybody's been talking on X saying that Sheree was really nasty for even bringing those documents to the stage, and Sheree and Drew have supposed to be on some good terms. Do we think that Sheree was wrong for that? So I ask you, the people, what you guys think of these
people? Which square?
I mean, I'm gonna pick out with my 4 eyes and my goggles closed. Cortez.
Okay, so as far as the talking about her child, I guess when you use the terms talking about and speak on, because even Andy agreed and felt like she spoke on her child. But right. Was she talking about her child? No, she was talking about a situation that involved her child and her child's I guess that's not even considered livelihood, because the child is well. It's not an issue, in terms of like their needs and wants. But So I personally, I didn't really feel like she spoke on her child. Was it, we talked about this comment. Was it kind of nasty? I think I said it was when we talked about it. Some people said it wasn't, but this is my square, so whatever. As far as Sheree, I don't know if I would have brought that out just because they're going through a divorce. But, and you said, consider that they're on good terms. I'll just say that Sheree's not on good terms with anybody. Sheree has taught me this reunion that anybody can get it. And she's very much so like, I'm going to always get my lick back. So if you have wronged her, she's going to get you back. She proved it with Kandi last week because, that stuff with Kandi, you would have thought they had no issue. But she made sure that she did everything she can do to get back at her. And I think, I don't think her and Drew will ever be okay. I think she's going to always be looking for moments to one up her just because of, Drew had a lot to say about her last year and vice versa. I think she's only okay with Marlo. And I think if Marlo ever tried her, she would come full. She's the kind of person that's going to be like, damn, bitch, you've been holding on to this type person. That's the kind of person she is. So I do think she was wrong. I don't know what the last question was, but somebody, right.
What was my last question? I forgot. So, Asia, what do you think?
I don't think Courtney was warranted for really like saying much about the adoption. She didn't say much. Her opinion made sense as shade. She didn't speak negatively about Josiah, but she did speak on something that could affect him. I think that's where my concern is because you don't know how that comment actually made Josiah feel. So that's the only reason that I don't necessarily like it, whether it's the truth or not. But what Courtney said was right. Yeah, like that. It don't make sense. It didn't make sense for Ralph to adopt that boy. So to make it a storyline in the first place was kind of tacky, and then to put it out there, it just put it out there for a bad reason. I didn't like how Drew brought up the taxes. That just kind of shows how nasty they deserve each other. What was the point of that? That was to call him out. So the fact that she kind of started off with that, the tears don't do nothing for me. Her smug face just sitting there, it did nothing for me. Her sitting in silence, thinking that that's what she was gonna be able to do on the reunion, and somebody had to tell her to talk. Didn't do nothing for me. That man don't like her.
All right. Thank you, Asia, for that. Antonio?
I agree with what they said about, Courtney. I don't think she necessarily talked about him, but I guess the terms they used was, speaking on him, and she did, speak on him. She's a bit too involved for me to have just come around a few months ago. In reference to Sheree, that was nasty. Like I get them, doing their little back and forth. Oh, you got a lawsuit and you don't pay your bills, and kiki ha ha. I get that, but this is something that could really impact Drew's life and where she is at this moment. I was surprised because she said, I don't want to be involved or be in the middle. And it did seem like, Jasmine, that maybe her and Marlo were kind of talking under their breaths, and Andy was like, what do you guys know about it? And Marlo was like, hey, I'm going to stay out of it. And Sheree was like, I don't want to get in it, but I'm going to get in it. So here go the envelope with the text messages in it. There's somebody just so happened to be able to get through my driveway gate and bring to my door. It was. That was crazy to me. And if I was Drew, if they were to come back next season, I'm not even going to lie, I would not be able to get over that, easily with Sheree. And I would dig up everything I could. And every time I saw her, I would be blasting her. Every time. And not just with words, with receipts. 100%.
About Drew to Sheree?
Yeah. Drew to Sheree, yes. For sure. And I forgot if there was another. But yeah, what Asia said, the whole he beat the IRS. It seems like Drew was kind of gonna go the route of he could have made those text messages up, but then she kind of pulled back a little bit. I think that's why she kind of put that out there, but I'm glad she, pulled back and didn't really try to expound on that. Like, just keep it moving, baby girl.
Well, she didn't, and she did deny the text message either. She did not.
She just was smart. She did deny, but she also did not really she said they're friendly text messages. So
yeah. She was more focused on the fact that they were given to Sheree from Ralph, more so on his character versus what was actually going to be in the messages. Maybe that lets me know honestly that it wasn't anything in there because she didn't really focus much on the messages.
Well, they said that they did read them in the during the reunion. They did read some of them, and I guess some of them were maybe a bit flirty or whatever. But I don't think it was like what they was talking about.
Well, Kenya kind of said they're not. Andy said incriminating, but Kenya was like, "These are not incriminating." I mean,
they probably just, to me, it seems like they proved that they have something going on, but it wasn't anything provocative. So that's why it could be, it's technically like damning to the cheating allegations, but it's nothing like cringeworthy or, "Ooh, girl, I said I want to lick you," or insert something Kandi would say.
"Ooh, Sammy, you heard that?" Well, my thing was, we've kind of touched on this question before, kind of recently, when it comes to like the Spice and Erica situation. Was she talking about her child? And to me, I think bringing up a child in general gives you that leg up to be like, well, don't speak on my child, which is very true, which is warranted. But in the grand scheme of it, like, I feel like that's just a deflection. I definitely think that there was something in that text messages that required, regarded her licking her box. And I honestly think that allegedly, and I honestly think that Sheree was nasty work for bringing it up, but I feel like it was needed. I feel like as an OG, Sheree did what she had to do. I'm sorry. Like, I hate that. Not had to do, but I feel like she did what, other people wasn't going to do. Well, she's supposed to give them, hey, these came to me. You do it. Like, somebody was going to bring it up.
Monique did it at her reunion. So
I just feel like when you have something like that, it's like you kind of, I don't know, it just sounds like it was planned. Like, what are the odds of her having this stuff in a folder there about a topic that has been questioned about? It's like, I'm not moved by that, like the She Knew stuff was cute, but this was like, I don't know if I would want to be the reason why somebody loses their divorce battle because I possibly put a piece of it, I just don't know.
Is it the fact that it can mess up their divorce that bothers you, or the fact that she brought it that
well, yeah, because it is on the show when they were battling about the whole what she would tie and stuff like that, they weren't going through divorce, but now they are. And so obviously there's a lot of things they can't even say on the show. Like, they're very cautious on what they say on the show. And I just feel like when she brought that, it was like, why? And it just seemed kind of plain. Like, even from Andy asking them, like, what you had, like, you have a whole envelope, but you had this stuff planned out. It's just like, I just don't really like that. And that to me doesn't give me OG behavior. It gives me, I'm thirsty. Like, I'm trying to do anything I can to stay relevant or stay on this show. Because a real OG wouldn't just be digging up little papers and stuff like that. They would do it in other ways. And now it's like, okay, it's weird.
They would. I think if she would have said like, "Oh, you said you ain't say such and such a tie," and then it could be denied. But
because she was even like, I don't want to talk about it, but I guess I hear. And it was just like,
it was giving Potomac to me. It was giving Potomac energy, RHOP energy, a scholar with the with the note paper.
I'm just crazy. I'll say this, my last thing. It's just crazy to me how they're letting Sheree win at this reunion because she is the one person that could be put under the damn ground in reeds and shade. And it is crazy that these girls they have let her get the upper hand because
she beat the other couch.
Sheree is a reed within her brand.
I just don't think that they thought Sheree was going to come with envelopes and newspapers and pamphlets and postcards and lions and tigers and bears.
And
I just don't think
She Knows
anticipated her to come like that because, again, I agree. It's as an OG, I don't expect her to have to do that. Like, honestly, and this is no shade, I would have expected Marlo to do it. Or no, and that's no shade. That is no shade. It is true. And not saying it's a bad thing if it came from Marlo, but I would have. I know you're a Marlo fan, and you empathize
I'm not a Marlo
her,
fan.
and you and Marlo is one and the same. I get that, but I would not expect that from someone like Sheree. I expect that from more lowbrow like Marlo.
Girl, I mean, please. At the end of the day, Sheree is wanting her job back. They've already talked to her about being a side, coming back when necessary. So she wanted to stay there and make sure it was a consecutive time and not every now and then. So
Sheree can still go.
She can still go. You know, I already said that, but
at least she's not pulling plums and peaches out her ass.
Right.
I just don't know how you preaching peace and you want to, but you're not even promoting peace. Like,
well, you know, Sheree is dumb and she'll just say whatever.
Like,
so
that's
what she's saying stuff.
She cried and stuff like that when people weren't getting along throughout the season, and then
she just wanted to get back to Martell, child. That's all that was. Gonna have a little phone sex with that. That's never mind. Everybody
did a good job.
We're moving on. The next scene, we see Courtney going to Ralph's room. Everybody bring it up. Everybody listen. Now we see Courtney go into Ralph's room, and Drew's sister, Allison, is that correct? Is that her name? Big Al? Big Al. Come around the corner.
Not the little one, baby.
Big Al. And she's peeking through. You know, she kind of stops and just do like that. And Courtney tries to close the door. And Big Al says, "You better not close that door on me." And Courtney says, "Please, get this bitch." And Allison says, "I thought you didn't say bitch." You know, putting that finger, that mentally ill finger, in her face. Says, "I don't," you know, they get someone to close the door. And she says, I do not. Well, before they close the door, "I thought you don't say the B word. I thought you don't say the B word." And she says, "Well, I do now. I do now." So they get someone to close the door. And so again, I stand on Allison crazy tail self. Got to start running on people. I did want to do a quick break on that, because I know that was a debate in our group chat about Allison running up on people. Now, do we think that her stopping, no, don't say no, Jasmine, because at the end of the day, when I tried to be nice about it and say that she got to start running up on people, they was like, "Oh, she's not running up on people," but she is. She stopped at that door. She stopped at the door. She put her shoulder in that door, and she said, "Don't close that door. Don't close that door up on me." And I'm just trying to make sure, like, I'm trying to see where everybody's mind is with that, because we just can't keep doing that, because Allison is you know, she looks taller. She looks like she can be intimidating, and we have to be honest about her running up on people. So I want to know you guys' opinion about that scene. Now on X, formerly known as Twitter, they have been saying that, you know, that the interaction between Courtney and Ralph looks suspicious. You know, like sexual, like they're not cousins, which I know Antonio believes that. I mean, said that, and I think they said that on Kandi's Speak on It. Mm-hmm. But I want to know you guys' opinion on that. I also want to know you guys' opinion on the interaction with Courtney and her at the door. So, Asia,
why you always be having to start with me with these kind of subjects? But okay. Okay. I feel I have Allison running up on people. Let's just talk about that. She's not crazy. That's clear as day. She's just from Chicago. So somebody said in the comments she has anxiety and PTSD. She does, and that's why she still act the way she probably has always acted. I think just in the one situation that she was in, seeing her to sing or wherever she went. So I get who she is as a person. She wants the smoke. So it's not that mental illness stuff that they keep trying to portray. It's more PTSD than anything. So when she's triggered, she gonna do what she do. And it might be that whatever situation she was in, she's not gonna let that happen to her anymore. So she's a little bit more proactive than anything, and making sure she will check a Courtney at any given time, any given day, because she don't want nobody playing with her family. So I understand that. Do I like Allison? No. Do I think she's too old to be rolling up on people like that? Yeah, because when you in your mid-40s, like, calm it down. Calm it down. Your sister is good as long as nobody is like throwing plums at her throwing peaches at her, I think she'll be okay. I think Allison just wants a like Allison wants a problem and she's acting like it. In terms of old girl and Ralph, like I don't know if they knew each other before, but they be flirting for sure. Like she stopped bringing her old actress baby daddy around and started really flirting with Ralph at the end of the season. I want Allison back. If Drew gonna be back, not Allison, sorry. I want Courtney back if Drew gonna be back.
I'm scared of Allison too, Chase. Antonio?
In regards to Allison at the door, and the conversation in the that we had in the group was she continuously runs up on people. I just didn't see where she had continuously ran up on people. So with this one, yeah, she called her the B word. So yeah, Allison stepped in, leaned into her. And if Allison would have really been that girl, she would have put that finger on that nose and pushed it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think we have to be a bit more responsible with associating mental illness with someone being crazy or whatever that, however that goes. Because I know people that have had to go and talk to people and stuff like that for depression and anxiety and those type of things as well. It doesn't necessarily mean that I can't argue with you, or it doesn't mean that I'm going to let you run over me or run over somebody in my family. It just means that, hey, this is something that I dealt with, but I'm taking steps to get better. But I will still check your ass if I need to. And if I need to step into a door and lean into it, then I will point my finger in your face. That's just what it is. Do they flirt? That hug she gave Ralph, I'm not going to lie, the way she kind of like, I don't grab my cousins. And I got a lot of them. And they don't grab me like around the neck, like, oh, hey. And they don't do all of that. But we know, Courtney admitted, I'm not making it up. Courtney said they're not like real cousins, but they kind of grew up together. And, a long time ago when they was kids, they may have spent the night over the same house. So they kind of cousins that way. But I don't know if any blood is involved. So that's that. Yeah.
Cortez, honey?
I still stand. I like Allison. I don't see an issue with her. She can be a little much. She maybe, overextend herself into this marriage. But as I've said for 3 seasons now, Drew doesn't have any friends on this show. And so it's good, even though I don't have to be a fan of Drew to want to see somebody stand up for her and genuinely have a care for her, because realistically on this show, she don't have that. She don't have no real friends, regardless of whether I think she's an actress or fake or whatever, liar, blah, blah, blah. I feel like Allison was needed, especially in this situation where, with her husband and stuff like that, regardless of her own PTSD and past trauma. I just feel like Courtney is, I don't mind Courtney either for the TV, right? But she's out of line. She's like overstepping a lot of things. Like, it's very inappropriate just seeing her interact with Ralph, even speaking on their marriage. All of it's just like trash to me. And it makes him, even, no matter how great he may try to look, he does look trash because he enables it. And he gives Courtney all this ammo to go against his wife, ex-wife, whatever. And so I don't mind Allison doing it. I don't, because who else gonna do it? I mean, I just don't. I just feel like Allison.
Well, I don't mind her doing it. Oh, go ahead. Sorry about that.
I'm done.
No,
I'm done.
My bad, friend. Please go ahead, Frat. Please. Are you done? You done?
Dr. Kirkwood, she was talking to you.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
I was done. No, I was reading the comment.
Oh, my bad, friend. All I was just saying is I don't mind it either if she's don't mind getting popped back. So the next thing I want to do is going to be kind of a long one. On a lighter scene, which I was glad that we can have, we talk about eating butt in the 90s. Kenya, with her 1987 Schwartz movie, says she put black threesomes on the map. Kandi Coated has been in business for 10 years. Sheree asked Kandi, what's the freakiest thing she's done? And she says she's had about 4 at a time. So we get into Sanya's source after that. We get into Sanya's storyline of her family. And she says they has moved out, and she gets into her miscarriage in New York. She says everyone reached out but Kenya, and Kenya says she called but Sanya didn't answer. I could tell Kenya, just for me, was trying to wrap that up real cute, real nice. You know what I'm saying? Trying to cut that. I mean, the way she did it, she was like, "You look beautiful." You know, I would never do that. We were trying to be pregnant together, blah blah blah. But I could tell that Sanya wasn't pleased. Sanya, Kenya also said she's about to adopt a 3 or 4-year-old. They asked Sanya how she could be a friend to Kenya, and then shade her. The clip shows that Sanya was talking about the Roy situation. Kenya says that there's a double standard with her and Marlo, and she says she's checked Marlo before. Kenya says she doesn't remember, but then brings up the charity. And Kenya brings up Sheree, didn't want her and Sheree and Marlo not want to bring their paddle up in their charity. Says Kenya is disingenuous and that their relationship is on camera. And when there are opportunities off camera to be a friend, Kenya doesn't show up. And Sanya says, let her finish. So, and that's those couple scenes, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of like light and stuff like that. I did enjoy I don't eat booty, but I do
enjoy the booty talk.
I enjoyed the booty talk. I think that's the only time that Kenya to me seems like she's normal. I don't know how that makes anybody else's feel, but I'm just saying that, she just gets more giggity and whatever when she's talking about sex. Of course, we talked about Sanya's miscarriage on the finale, and we all thought it was sad and stuff like that. And I was surprised to hear that she felt like that Kenya didn't reach out. I do think that even if I call somebody and they didn't answer, I'm gonna hit them with a text. I'm gonna hit them with a flower or something like that. So I thought that maybe that was kind of weird for me with the Kenya situation. And everybody knows, I'm not the biggest Kenya fan, and I'm not really trying to shade her with that. But if she was trying to make like a grandstand or try to make sure that Sanya knew that she reached out, there could have been another avenue of communication outside of that. I do think that Sanya stood her ground with this scene, with these scenes collectively, because people constantly say that she doesn't stand up for herself, and I was glad to see her kind of put her foot down on that, because even after Kenya kind of was like, "I did call, honey, you look good, you look great, pregnancy looks good on you," Sanya smiled. She smiled, but she came back to it, and I was proud of her for that, because regardless if you are a Kenya fan or a Sanya fan, I still think that when stuff like that comes up, reality TV got to go to the back burner, and we got to be serious about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? She could have died. So yeah. I ask you, my peoples, what do we feel about the booty eating in the 90s? Oh, y'all don't have to talk about that. But what do we feel like about the conversation between Kenya and Sanya? Do we think that she had valid points about, not being able to really see if Kenya is genuine or not? Do we think that Kenya was being a little like salty, because the clip they showed about her talking about Roy, to me, didn't warrant an unfollow. So I ask you, my people, Antonio, please.
So in reference to them, I get, first of all, if I was Kandi, Sheree wouldn't have been able to ask me no question. Like, as soon as Sheree would have said, "Kandi, I ask you," I would have said, "Don't ask me."
I think that's why she looked away. I think she didn't want to answer, but I think she was like, "You really gonna ask me a question?" But she didn't say it.
I would have hit her with a sentence. I wouldn't have hit her with a look or a look away. I definitely would have hit her with a sentence. In reference to Sanya and Kenya, I was glad that Sanya finally had some words to say at the reunion, because she was quiet, I think, the whole first part that they showed. I do think Kenya likes Sanya. I think it's just more so if they know that Sanya's loyalty lies with Marlo. Her and Marlo seem to have a really good relationship. So that could be, kind of what's holding Kenya back a little bit from maybe getting to know her. I would also ask, Sanya mentioned, it looking disingenuous when Kenya tries to get her to know her on the show, but she doesn't try to be a friend off the show. I would then ask Sanya, so what have you done to be a friend to Kenya off the show? Like, I get it that in that situation, I think that Kenya should have definitely, if she called and she truly liked Sanya and Sanya didn't answer the phone, she should have just shot a text, just something simple. It didn't have to be a whole lot. But I will also just going a little deeper, like saying, what have you done to try and build a relationship with Kenya off the show? Because that works both ways between the two of them.
Asia,
Girl, Kenya's antics are dumb. Look, I'm over her.
Crazy.
She doesn't like Sanya. She shaded Sanya last season. She shaded Sanya this season. I don't know what else to say about that. She showed up late to her event. Her dress was ill-fitting and just terrible. Then with the Marlo and Sheree not raising their paddles and stuff, I mean, they donated. So I think to try to make that a story is stupid, and it just shows how hard Kenya and Marlo actually hate each other. So whatever, but I didn't really want to talk about that part right then and there. So that was annoying to me. I really don't think Kenya likes Sanya. I think it's because Sanya actually has accolades, the same amount of accolades, the same type of accolades that Kenya has. They're just more recent. And so that whole, oh, I'm stuck in the 90s thing might be getting in Kenya's head a little bit. Sanya stood her ground. I like it. I like her. I really don't mind. I want to see her again. And I kind of want to see this group without Kenya. I know that sounds terrible, but I want to see them without Kenya and maybe without Sheree, just to see how things can go without these two kind of older people who are going to do the same petty stuff. Well, Sheree kind of surprises, but still going to do the same old petty antics over and over again. I just want some freshness, and Sanya would be a nice introduction because I really want to see her and Kandi's friendship blossom a lot more. I'm happy she's pregnant.
Asia, don't apologize. That's your square, baby. You say what
that
you
is
want.
your square, honey. You know I don't mind.
He is to me, like, to be honest, like, y'all can say I'm biased or wherever I am. I don't like her.
It's your square, baby.
Sorry, no cussing, but like I don't like the way she does. I don't like how she tried to shut Sanya down when Sanya was trying to get her point across. I do think it's kind of mean overall when you see, like, it takes Sanya a little bit more to get out what she's saying. So to overtalk her time and time again, it just gives mean girl to me. Let that girl finish. Let her finish. We know you like sweet talking your way out of stuff, but
let her finish, Antonio.
We know she delayed.
I just held up my fingers. But in that instant, I get what you're saying, Asia. I agree with that. But you're not gonna think you just gonna shade me and I'm gonna let it ride by. Yeah, I'm gonna interrupt your ass every time you try and shade me in this conversation. Because
she shaded like
I don't remember. I got to go back.
She definitely was trying to say
that. She was. No, she really was.
They pulled the
go
clip,
back to
Antonio.
That point.
Antonio, they pulled the clip.
Hold up. Go back to that point on Peacock and watch that instance. She was trying to say, I can't. I should have wrote it down, but I was watching. I wasn't paying that much attention to it to be like taking notes. But I know it was she tried to shade Kenya a bit in that moment, and that's when she got interrupted.
With Roy?
With Roy.
That was when she was talking to Marlo, but in that instance of her speaking at that time, she kind of said something shady. And if
she said when it was Martell, it was World War III. Now that it's with you and Roy, it's like disregarded. And honestly, that's ridiculous. When it comes to Kenya, she wants a blind loyalty. And that you cannot have that. I mean, I feel like Sanya, she's not innocent. When I say she's not innocent, I don't mean that she's just like out here just like doing like stirring the pot or something. I feel like Sanya really has genuine moments with people, and she can have her loyalties where they lie. But I don't think she's done anything to Kenya's for her to be unfollowing her and for Kenya, but like you're so shady and stuff like that. Besides be Marlo's friend. If we just gonna be like, if we just gonna be honest about that, and that just can't be right. I feel like I've seen in the comments, Kandi interrupted her. Kenya interrupted her. Kenya said, "I'll see if you're worthy to be my friend." During one of the episodes when she was talking about her, like, no, Kenya has no respect for Sanya, and that doesn't have anything to do with anybody but Kenya. Like I feel like Sanya has tried, but. I don't feel like that Sanya owes her anything else besides what she's giving her. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to jump in because y'all ain't gonna do a boop, 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 boop. Okay.
I'm listening to you all speak. I'm gonna keep it short though, but I will say I have so many feelings about this whole thing. I do feel like Kenya is in the wrong for not at least somewhat texting, because just like we saw when the situation happened with Sheree. Drew found out Sheree's father just passed. They immediately dropped the feelings. Was like, so I feel like when serious stuff happened, like anything like that, they typically come through. I don't know why Kenya didn't at least respond back, text back, call back, but she's wrong for that. I'll say she is wrong for that. Now, on the other hand, I will say I don't really feel like Sanya and Kenya have the relationship that she feels like they have. I agree. Kenya does not really respect Sanya. I've said it many times, and she has shown it. Because even when somebody makes the comment, "I actually like you," that's not a good thing. I don't look at that. It's like, you ain't got, what I'm saying? I don't like that. Kenya in this moment, she was using the charity as leverage to say, "I've been there for you," and she didn't have to come and stuff like that. But like Asia said, you were late, and yes, you were trying. When Kenya is a person that when she's in a role and she's up there, she's going to perform right in terms of like she was the MC. She wanted to make sure that she got everybody all riled up to raise their powders and raise their money. I never see Kenya to get up and to do anything and half do it. If she does it, she's either going to do it or not going to do it. So her saying that, in my opinion, was just like, Kenya, girl, yeah, you got the people to want money, but the whole purpose was a charity, so they were going to donate money anyway. I don't feel like she did. She's always like she acts like she's doing Sanya a favor. Whether it's getting her friend or talking to her, and that's the only thing I don't like. But like I said, I think Sanya should really move forward and just not really look at friendship. I don't think it's a real friendship. Like, I don't think there ever will be. And also, Sanya is aligned with those other two girls, and that's gonna be hard for Kenya to get on. So I think they should just let this. I think they should throw it away, as Drew said.
Throw it away.
They should throw it away. I don't think it's a match friendship at all, personally. Yeah.
Well, Antonio, I actually like you, so I hope that.
Well, Jasmine, baby, I don't like you at all.
I actually like you. But no, I'm just kidding. I love everyone on the stage right now. So
I can love everybody and still not like them, baby. Trust me.
Oh, baby, honey, you can meet we can meet after this. So at the end of the day, you guys, we're gonna move on. Thank you guys. I actually like everyone. So the next thing I'm really gonna play us by that because I don't have the bandwidth, the headspace to go back through this any more than we have the whole season. Marlo and Kandi, I'm going to go past it. But I'm going to just go through it real quick, okay? Of course, Andy brings it up. Marlo stands on it. She felt triggered. Go, baby, please. I actually enjoyed that. But, Marlo stands on it. Kandi feels like she's jealous of her. Samuel tries to go, try to stand up for her. Drew tries to stand up too, but Marlo tells her to worry about her marriage. And then she starts pointing that finger. Don't you say a thing about my marriage. And then we move on with that. Does anybody have anything to say again after the episodes we have about Marlo and Kandi?
No, I think Marlo is dumb and she still wasn't able to articulate herself all these months later. She still wasn't able to say anything. She gave no additional context. She just stupid and low.
So I guess no one has anything to say.
Yeah, stupid and low.
Okay. So moving on past that. Okay, yes, Taz, if you have something.
Thank you very much. So in this whole moment, it's been a long season. I don't really feel like she was really, she said what she said when she said, I feel like even Andy didn't really believe it because he kept asking, like, why after 2 years later, and how did you feel then, and why did you continue to do, talk to her and do these things afterwards? And I think all of that kind of spoke to, like, I understand where Marlo was coming from. She made it a point, but I don't think it was a real valid point, in my opinion. I don't think she said anything different that changed my mind on how I felt about it. Could Kandi have maybe been a little bit more, sentimental about the situation? Sure, but she wasn't. But as far as like Kandi said, so all of that is the reason why we fell out. I thought for me that kind of brought it home to be like, Marlo, we kind of reached. I'm sorry.
Marlo said that they didn't fall out.
Hold on, this is nice. Let me finish.
Okay, finish your square, my bad.
All right. So, and as far as the whole thing with Drew and Marlo, I hate that already she's using the divorce as an attack. But I did holler when she told her, "Get you a wife." I did crack up. It was kind of funny because I was like, "Oh shoot!" But the situation. This is also what Sanya and Kandi kind of went back and forth. And like Kandi said, why are we always arguing about her? And I really want Sanya to look at this scene to realize that she is not in the middle. She is not neutral, and she has chosen a side, and that's okay. But I need her to really look at that and understand why some of her other friendships may not be able to blossom, because realistically, she is very biased to one side. One side. She's not in the middle. And she's not. So yeah.
Well said.
Thank you for that detailed discussion.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna move on because we all know what Jasmine feels with her real bun about the situation, honey. Please get over it. So the scenes that we are waiting for now, Drew and Ralph. This was the most awkward. Like, I just felt cringe. Like, I felt uncomfortable looking at these scenes with Drew and Ralph. And I don't know if anybody else felt that way. Like, I mean, from the song to the conversations, I don't know where to really go with this. So I'm just gonna tell you guys my notes. So Sean, please write down the 3 things that she lied about. Okay, so they bring up Marlo. I'm sorry. They bring up Marlo. I mean, no, sorry. The next scene, we have Ralph and Drew, and she pulls out a peach as a prop. Now, to me, that cancels out anything Drew has to say. Because if you have, no, for real, because if you have enough time to pull out a plum, and then when your husband gets on there, because they're still cohabitating, they're still living together, they're still, like, to me, it seemed like a game. So she pulls out a peach as a prop, gives it to Andy to pass to Ralph because he wants to be a peach holder, whatever. Doesn't Drew? No, Drew doesn't want to answer really. Kenya's kind of like, "Come on, Drew, you have to answer. You have to do this." Drew says doesn't even know why he's there. Basically, he says he's there to clear his name. He reaffirms that he got all his information from Drew's assistant, and everybody else agrees. So I do want to stop there real quick because I just don't really get. Do we think that Drew's assistant gave this information out? That's what I want to know.
That's what everybody says. So
everybody says she did. Kandi.
Yeah.
I don't really think Kandi's a liar.
Antonio, what you think?
Yeah. See, I mean, everybody said it. Kandi said it. I mean, clearly he'd been running through the streets saying it because even Marlo said she had heard it, and I don't think she has any relation to the assistant.
Okay.
And so yeah.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, to me, that's one of the parts that was cringy. I don't get why Drew doesn't believe everybody on that stage. Everybody is not lying about this assistant.
She believes
she gotta vet her people better because damn,
this is the third or fourth assistant, and that's just me being real. Like, I'm not even trying to talk about shit or anything. Like, I'm just being like real. So Andy asks them both if there's infidelity, and Ralph says no. Drew says he's embarrassed her every season that she's been on there, which would make 3. And this started even back in Chicago. She says he never shows up for her. She also says that he got with Mimi, which was on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta with Stevie J, and that they colluded. What did Mariana say? They a collusion to make this thing a thing about Ty. And stands firm that she doesn't believe it was her assistant. The girls co-sign. Drew tells him that Ralph told the streets he is the streets. She still doesn't believe it. Drew pulls out the phone, and the girl asks when he's gonna bring back that dick. Hey, give us promotions. That's what they said on the thing. And Ralph said that was childish. I mean, not childish, but a catfish. He also goes in to say that Drew got the same message and he never responds. Kenya alludes that he never responds as well. Kandi checks on Ralph's audition. In the middle of this, it's a scene about the man. What is that?
Chippendales
City.
Chippendales or something.
Yeah. Chippendales, whatever. They check on that. And Kandi is on her confessional checking to see if that's legit, and it was. So, and she also tells him to do a DuBravoCon because that's gonna get a bag, which is more so unserious. So, in the middle of that, I want to go ahead and ask you guys before we go a little bit deeper into it. What are we thinking about this conversation starting off? Like the infidelities, the peach, the fact that Drew doesn't believe that her assistant is the culprit, the fact that Ralph really thinks that catfish in 2023 is a thing. So, and what do we actually think about Kandi calling to verify all of that? Cortez.
Well, catfish is definitely real in 2023.
Okay, I don't know.
I will say it's definitely real. All the time.
Oh my gosh.
As far as these with the assistant, like Antonio said, you can't. I mean, everybody can't be lying. Everybody said it, and we know that she has a history of hiring people that somehow always turn. I don't know what Drew is doing to these people. I've never seen so many people of a staff turn on their, the person that hired them, but it's crazy. I don't know what's happening over there, but it's like people are literally working for Drew just to turn on her or help other people out. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of scary. She should really dial back on the assistants because they are like wearing her low. As far as Drew and Ralph, like specifically, I just don't really know what is going on. I don't know how she thought she was gonna come on this reunion and not speak at all. Like I get what she was trying to go for, but you had to know that wasn't gonna work. You may be first chair, ma'am, but if Needy couldn't do it, you're not going to sit there and not speak. That's one thing you're not going to do. So I hate that. But I found this whole segment to be awkward, just mainly because it was a one-on-one conversation, but it had 8 other people out there. And I just didn't understand why that was needed. I mean, I get it's a reunion, but they didn't have anything to say. And when they did have things to say, it just kind of made things worse. For the most part, they were able to speak. But I was trying to empathize with Drew because she kept making it seem like they had so many conversations before they got there. And like maybe they had planned on what they were going to say and that he was going against the script. That's kind of what she kept saying in everything she was saying. But I just didn't really know what to feel. It's the most weirdest thing. I should feel bad for her, right? But I just feel almost nothing. Like I feel relieved, honestly, that it's like ending because it's like so awful of a situation to just watch on TV. It wasn't entertaining, and I just found it to be kind of like, ugh. Like the whole time. It was the most cringiest thing I've seen. One of the cringiest moments I've seen on a reunion. Like, I wasn't invested. I don't know.
Give it all to him, Cortez. Antonio.
Yeah, Drew. I mean, Drew ain't that busy to needing all these chefs and assistants. Just fire everybody for right now. Try to handle it yourself. Use your calendar on your iPhone and put your stuff on there that you got to do, and that is gonna send you alerts and reminders and all that. Just do that, Drew, because clearly these people don't like you. In regards to her giving Ralph the peach, she did kind of lose a couple of points. But it did seem like I think Ralph and Drew, they are, huh?
No, I was laughing when you said a couple of points. I'm thinking like
you said a couple.
Hey, this is my.
I understand.
Everybody else get that right here.
Hey, listen, I'm just mumble. I just mumble over here. I just laughed. Okay.
No mumble.
It caught me off guard, so I got PTSD.
So with that, but I do feel like Ralph came to perform. Like they say, Drew acting. To me, I felt like Ralph was acting. Drew lies. I feel like Ralph lies. It's just that to me, throughout this whole situation, I honestly felt like Drew was telling just a little bit more of the truth than Ralph was. I feel like they was both lying a little bit. Like to me, Drew is not being 100% honest about her relationship with Ty, but I don't think that they are like sleeping together. But I think that they are. I think she does like Ty. but I just don't think that. I think that they have had conversations previously, not maybe not necessarily to set up a script or anything like that, but I do think that Ralph has admitted things to her and apologized. She said, "You apologize for talking to Mimi," and then it's like it is like they came there, and he's kind of like going against the grain because you now said something different behind closed door, and now here you are again embarrassing me on this platform. I think just like Peter, somebody gave Peter a peach or whatever, or he pulled it out. I think Ralph kind of deserved that peach because to me, that's what he was given in that moment. He came out all somber and I want to tell my truth and I'm a stand-up man and I want the people to know and I want my kids to know. Like, nigga, you a liar. And he kind of, to me, he really solidified for me a lot of stuff that Drew said when she was saying, you did this year after year, and he made the comment of, have I not given you a good life? To me, I done gave you a good life, so I can treat you however I want to treat you, and I can say whatever I want to say, and I can do you however I want to do you, but because I've given you a good life, you should be able to deal with it. And even outside, also another thing, he tried to run with the narrative that she's a liar. Maybe she is, but in the moment of him saying that Drew made that whole thing up about him going to LA for the audition or whatever. I'm in this case, I'm glad that Kandi had actually been a little nosy and called the people to, kind of verify it and that it was verified, because if not, then he already, had these people, because when he said Drew made that up, it was a couple of people on that couch that he was sitting on was like, oh Lord. And then when Kandi was like, no, it was verified, he didn't really have anything to stand on. So to me, in regards to the Drew versus Ralph, she did to me get she's looking more favorable to me than he is.
I would agree
Look
with
at that.
I'm trying to figure out how her assistants don't like her and she don't know. Her husband don't like her. She don't know. I
think she know that.
No, she don't. Not the way she got on that stage and thought he was going to switch it up and be nice to her and apologize to her in the middle of divorce hearings and they can't say much. Drew, your husband don't like you. Danny don't like you. Your assistants don't like you. All these people have this issue with you, but you can't see it. And so you keep going and dipping your toe and thinking that these private conversations you have with people are going to come to fruition and all of a sudden be better. No. Get you a couple more Allisons, get you a squad together, and come to battle and come to fight. Stop being so weak. I mean, she just a loser, and it just sucks so much because she has so much potential. Like, she has so much potential to be that girl, or at least like that girl adjacent, or cosplay as that girl. Like, she has a lot of potential to do something with her acting skills and her singing skills, but she gets on this television and lets her husband play in her face. He don't like you. Use that as ammo to get him together. She could have went further with at that point. I wish she would have just went further with the IRS thing instead of just sitting there and being like, "You're playing in my face." Say why he's playing in your face. Say exactly verbatim. Say, we discussed this and you said you was going to come on here. And the only reason I wanted you here was because you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. And now you're not doing it. She's like not doing that. She's just leaving so much out, leaving so much to be desired. Okay, well, I don't feel bad for you. You got, if you're going to be on this show, pull your junk out and be that girl.
Sticking on that show square. Oh, go ahead, Tiz.
I want to say something. So one thing I noticed that Drew kept trying to promote in this whole thing was that she didn't, she's very particular about what she puts out there. She didn't want to put certain things out there on TV. But we were talking about the whole JoJo adoption thing. I thought that could have been left off the screen. I didn't think that needed to be exploited. So I feel like her judgment of what should be out there versus what shouldn't is off. I know this is crazy, but in this moment, I don't know what she can and cannot say, but I do feel like she could have gave us a little more of an insight, because all she kept focusing on was him being a cheater for the last 5 or 6 years, which honestly, Drew, we already knew that. You're not telling us anything new. Even Mayetta, who gets on my nerves to the side, was like, keep talking, like we need to find out, because she's not giving us anything new. And so I really wish she would have used this moment to not just run through the mud, but really tell what has been going on. Because at the beginning of this season, y'all, she said, and they showed the clip, we're at the best place we've been in a long time. And even when we reviewed this at the very beginning of the season, we knew she was lying. because of the divorce, and we just felt like they were pretending. So, she could have really used this moment to really like go in deep on what was going on. We know he cheated. We know he gaslight. We know these things. I mean, just because Drew's a liar does not negate that this man is an awful man. It does not negate that at all. I don't have to know that. I'm from about Drew to know that. I know that's true, right? I just feel like she didn't really give us what we would have wanted. What could have made for a better reunion? Nothing new. She could have showed a million text messages. That wouldn't have been new. We all know this man been doing certain things. What we would have known was who the hell. I know she knows who was in Tampa. I know she knows who's in Tampa.
Exactly.
That's what we needed to know. Like the stuff that we need to know, not big booty cat. No.
Big booty catfish.
We don't
Big
care.
Booty catfish.
She needs a friend on the show. Like yes, she does. Like she need a squad, so she can just be a little bit more interesting and less of a loser.
Well, Asia, thank you for your detailed breakdown of everything.
She is not a loser. She is a winner. She's
not that much of a winner.
Now. She's not winning right now.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna side with my girl Asia. I hate to say the word loser, but she's just not a winner right now. It's hard for me to believe that she's oblivious to these things when she's going to scissor with Ty, allegedly. Like, you can't tell me that this girl is not doing that for real. Like, everybody, Rashida, okay, I'm sorry. Kandi, Marietta, Rashida, Sheree, everybody ain't lying on you, honey. And that's all I got to say about it. Now, like Ralph, he's a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't negate the fact that you brought a peach on here and you want us to take you serious. That's it. That is it. You brought a peach on here and you wanted us to take you serious. I can't do it. Now, if Drew would have sat there and without any props, without a dog bone, without a plum, without a peach, and sat there and was like, I'm not playing with you right now. Like, then I would have took her serious. But her and her fake tears and her napkin and her throwing it on the floor and her walking off and Yanyetta saying, go out there, fight for it. No. I don't take nothing serious when it comes to Drew. Now, please give me a break. And that's all I got to say with it. You want us to believe they're both weird. They're both weird. So I'm sorry. I can't even do it. Like, I believe that they are one and the same. They belong together. It's giving Mariah Carey. We belong together. And it's nothing. I don't have no sympathy for neither one of them. The only people I have sympathy for in this situation are the kids, especially Josiah, because he's just being a pawn and all of that stuff. Yep. Like, they're just throwing his name around just to be spiteful, and that includes Courtney as well. So I'm just done. And Drew does it too. You know, she wants to point her she wants to point her thick finger with her nail on it towards everyone and tell them not to speak on her kids when she uses him as a pawn as well. And that's just my square. That's just my opinion. So
valid.
That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, she sung that song. You know, she said he's been getting blowjobs around the world. She gets up. He says she's acting. And, you know, they tell her to come back out. She sings that song, looks him dead in the eyes, and sings Do Re Mi. So at the end of the day,
not Do Re Mi.
I'm sorry. I cracked myself up with that one. But at the end of the day, that was awkward. It was cringy. It made me upset. I
text Cortez and said, what?
It made me upset.
Do y'all think they like made her do it?
No, she said that she wanted to perform it. It's giving.
They didn't make her do it.
Because I was just asking because she was like, it was hard, it was awkward, but you know,
I think she was saying it was hard that she probably had to do it while he was out there. And it was the song was because she co-wrote that song with my friend Nye. They co-wrote that song.
It's a nice song too.
It is a nice song.
I think the fact that the song was clearly about him and their relationship and other women or whatever, and she had to sing. I think that's why she said it was hard. But it was just everybody watching. It was Sheree doing this, like. Everybody looking mouth like
right.
It was
Dream, you're right. I meant to touch on this. this is my last question of the night. Do we think that Ralph was wrong for questioning when Kenya, because a lot of people on X and Facebook are saying that Kenya showed a side of her that they haven't seen before when she was checking Ralph. But some people think that Ralph was warranted to ask her how long has she even been married. So that is a question. No, that's the question. That's the question, because Kenya loves to jump into conversations, especially with me. And then when they get raw with her, she wants to call her abuse. Boom, my square. But I just want to know what everybody else thinks about that real quick.
Can't nobody.
I think they was both. I think Kenya was out there. He was out there with all the women. I think Kenya was fine with what she said. I also think he was fine with asking how long have you been married, even though I don't feel like
it matters.
Speaking it really mattered, but I think it was fine. That's what he kind of had to grasp at that time, and that's what he tried to do. So,
I'll change myself, Asia.
It matters.
Oh,
it just does.
Oh, you are married, honey. Yes.
I want Kenya to stop projecting her situation on certain things. Like, I understand, but she kept mentioning a million times how she said it to him, like, I witnessed it, or the same behavior, whatever it was. It was just like, this is why I said the conversation should have been open to everybody on the stage, because you open the room for other people. Because I'm surprised other folks didn't say other things. I'm really surprised that Marlo, honestly, and Sheree didn't say much. Kandi kind of kept quiet until she was summoned, whatever. So I was surprised, but I just wish what she's saying was facts, but it's like, you already spoke out against Ralph last season. You already spoke out about Martell. Maybe Kenya should probably reel herself back in on getting into other people's relationships in terms of her opinion. Though she's right, I just don't think she's always the person that should be speaking. And it seems like she's always the person that's speaking on somebody else's situation with it being right. It's just like, girl, sometimes you ain't got to always talk about, and it's always at the hands of what she's gone through. So it's like,
gone through it. She was married to him, but they didn't even live in a home together. So it's not relatable at all.
It's the same thing. It's the relationship.
No, girl,
when you out on somebody's situation, you cannot get upset if he wants to be, whether he knew or not, he retaliated and said, how long have you been married? I don't know if that's malicious or not, but it was actually very accurate in a way. But although the time doesn't matter, but she was like, oh, really? You want to try to? No, don't. Oh, really? You should have just been quiet. Like,
right. Because anybody in that juncture, anybody could say anything. That's Sheree, that's Marlo, that's Courtney, that's Marietta, especially with the Neo situation with Marietta. She could have had a valid response back to this situation. So I feel like Kenya, to me, is always jumping into their marriage or anybody else's that she feels comparable to.
I would have asked how many nights she actually slept in the same bed with Mark.
Oh,
I see people saying like they glad that Drew has some support, but that's just not the support that I feel like Drew needs. I don't think anybody on this stage could say that Ralph has been a good man to Drew outside of Courtney. I don't even think Marlo would say that. I think she's gonna probably say it's maybe be paid, but I don't think she's warranted. But everybody watching this show since they got on the show knows that he has been like not the best. We ain't even gotta have evidence. So it's just like, Kenya, girl, you talking to somebody that's the narcissist. If you know he's a narcissist, you know a narcissist is not gonna listen to whoever they with and whoever's talking to them. It's just narcissism behavior. So be quiet.
Oh, so what? So what, Cortez?
Be quiet. It's okay. Just be quiet.
Drew has Allison, so she doesn't need any more support. Anyway,
Allison. And regardless of this act, I think Drew is she probably is a very strong woman outside of this. And I hope if she is with Ty, I think that I hope Ty fills her up in happiness.
Unless
okay.
I do. I hope she wins. I hope she's no longer a loser, Asia.
I really don't think that she's no loser.
You can always come back as a winner, but when you do the loser stuff that she does, like, and you hear me say, like, I want her to do other stuff. Like, I really want to see her going out on auditions and music and I really want her to do other stuff. It would add like that Atlanta perspective back to what we were missing. But she has to be honest, she let her husband play her on TV time and time again. And I think it's because she really loves him, but he just doesn't love her. And that is that. I don't know when it left, but it's not there. She has to realize that and go find happiness, whether that's with Ty or another Peach. But please just go get you some. Get you a girl, get you a wife, and be happy, because I just want to see it. I do want to. I want to see her fulfill like what she wants.
We have a caller in the queue. We got to get out of here, but we do have a caller. They've been in the queue for a while, so thank you for the patience. We'll get them on. Then we'll go to lean out, and we'll close out this season on a happy note. All right, our caller for today is going to be Sidora content. What's going on, CC?
Courtney. Hey, how y'all doing?
How are you?
Hey. Who is this?
I was just imitating Ralph.
Oh, hi, Sierra Content.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, Sierra. Oh.
How are you?
I'm the only caller. Okay, hey. Well, let me just spit it out. You know, I personally, ultimately, I am Team Marlo. I'm Team Sheree, Team Sanya, and Team Courtney. So I'll just dig into the other ladies. As far as Kandi, I think it's hilarious how all of a sudden people are starting to see how shady she is and how she's kind of like the hide the rock, throw the rock, or hide the rock, throw the hand type of person. Because me and the other Nene fans already saw it years ago, so everybody's just catching up. And how do you get ate up by Sheree? How do you get ate up by Sheree 3 or 4 times? How does that happen? Why did Sheree have me gagging like that? Like I was really gagged at how my sis just took that lackluster read and just sat there and ate it because she knew it was true. She knew exactly what she was talking about, because look where Sheree was sitting at and look where Kandi was sitting at. Bloop. Okay, if she comes back next year, hopefully she realizes she needs to be awake and appear awake every time the camera is rolling. That's how I feel about Kandi. And then Kenya. Well, this reunion was somewhat of a swan song for my good sis Kenya, because it's like she gets 3 solid chops from me. I don't want to see her back on the show. And I just feel like maybe the producers feel the same way. You get exposed for having a fake boyfriend on the last episode, and on this episode, you let Sanya play hopscotch with your wig. Another moment of me gagging. I was here for it. Sanya really stepped up and put that nail in her housewife's coffin. So I was here for it. But also at the same time, I just have to ask, how awful of a person do you have to be to not reach out to your quote unquote friend after they done had a traumatic miscarriage that could have taken their life? Like, I don't think Sanya had any reason to lie about it. Like, people on Twitter talking about, oh, Sanya's lying and Kenya did reach out. I don't think Sanya's lying. I think Sanya really felt her ways, and in a calculated way, she brought this up at the reunion to kind of just put that final nail in the coffin. So, you know, I think her time's up. You know, she's like Trump. She's inciting riots. She's encouraging her fans to bully and throw threats at the production team. You know, it's up.
Oh, wow.
You know, you're mad because they didn't show your footage of your salon. Girl, this ain't Baps. Okay, it's up. Time is up. If it's up, then it's up. I just want to say I love this panel. Y'all are so funny. Y'all kept me laughing the whole time. Not the dance moves.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for it.
Yes. Yes. Have a good night.
All right, have a good night. Thank you for calling in season 2. We had another call in the queue, but unfortunately, you did join the queue just very late, and we have to lean out. We have to. So we're gonna just have to get your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, caller. I apologize, but we have to lean out. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and lean out. This season has been great. You've been here with us for about 3 months now, 3-4 months. Shout out to Dream, who's also been a special guest with us on this panel with us this season. It's been fun. It's been fun here. This season's been okay. I think the reunion was better than the entire season, to be honest. But that's just my opinion, my square, as we always say. Jazz, Asia, and Antonio, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Honey, goggles.
Y'all won't see us as a panel for a very long time. So, yeah. Well, I don't know, very long time.
It's gonna be it won't be that long, really. Patami?
Oh shoot, Patami. Well, yeah, until November.
I think for us all together.
For all of
Oh yeah.
Yeah, all on Patami.
Yeah.
Get into it, Antonio. With your black
Kenya. I want a season without Kenya. Everybody else can say, I just want a season without Kenya just to see how it goes, please.
I want a season without being called goggles. I know that I was wrong for talking about Drew's box Chevy. Like, I'm sorry.
Let
She's
it
beautiful.
go.
I can't help it. Like, we just did that. But I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Jazz the villain. Let's go.
I want to say this is the same wig I did the first episode with. So
period. And I'm not locks long. Period.
You think Antonio? I said anything you want to say?
In the words of Nene Leakes, we still need to look for some new girls. And if you want the names of the new girls, they are Marlo, Sanya, Sheree, Drew, any kind of combination of them. Marlo for sure. Marlo for sure.
Thank
Marlo.
You. I know that me and Antonio go at it, but he loves my dirty draws, and that's just where it is on it. Period, honey.
I do like you, Jasmine.
I do like you. I actually do.
Good night to them.
Well, let's know we're gonna get out of here tomorrow. Listen, tomorrow there's not gonna be a New York episode tomorrow because the VMAs. Which also counts as our Love and Hip Hop because it airs tomorrow. We film Wednesdays, but there is no episode airing tomorrow. So no Love and Hip Hop Atlanta this week. No Real Housewives of New York. We will have Salt Lake City. And so beginning next week, for all those that are watching Salt Lake City will, no, sorry, not Salt Lake City. Real Housewives of New York will take this time at 8:30 on Mondays. Is when we'll have that show. So it'll still be hosted by Jamie, and it'll have myself, Love Jones, Chase, Chad, and Shantae. But Real Housewives of New York will be taking this slot on Mondays until we come back for Potomac in November. So, or Married to Medicine, probably both. So make sure y'all subscribe, like the video. Thank you, Jazz, for hosting tonight. Thank you, Asia, Antonio, for a great season. Dream as well. Thank y'all for watching. And until next time, we will see you all later. Okay.
Good night.
Goggles.
Big goggles.